Dr. Kylie Dodsworth, and I'd like to talk to you today about the adrenal glands. So many people come in to see me and go, I just feel tired all the time. And, there's lots of reasons why we might be tired, but the adrenal glands can be a big part of that picture. So our adrenal glands, they sit just above our kidneys. They're only little glands, but they're actually really important glands, and they're really complicated too. So the adrenal glands have three sections to them. One part makes what we call our stress hormones. So that includes our cortisol, which helps our body to produce blood sugar and have the capacity to respond to stress, be that emotional, mental stress or physical stress or illness. So cortisol, and then adrenaline and noradrenaline, which are our flight and fight and a quick response type ones. So we make those hormones in the adrenal glands. We also make what we call our sex hormones. Not all of the sex hormones, but in the adrenals we make what's called DHEA. It's got a very long name, but we call it DHEA. It's kind of like our anti-aging hormone. It helps to rejuvenate the body and signal to heal and repair. Really important for our brain function. And from DHEA, we then make testosterone. So for women, that's the only way we make our testosterone is through the adrenal glands. Whereas men have got testicles that they can then make their testosterone that way as well. For women, we're relying only on the adrenal glands. And testosterone helps us with muscle strength, bone density, stamina, sort of structural function, as well as some sexual function. So that's another part of the adrenal glands. And then the third part actually makes a completely different hormone called aldosterone. And that one actually controls water and salt balance in the body. So that has an impact on our blood pressure. And so if we're getting low in our aldosterone levels, we can actually get lightheaded, feel dizzy, not get enough blood flow up to the brain, a bit of brain fog, salt cravings. So there's a range of things that we can notice if we're low in our aldosterone. So there's actually quite a few things to consider when it comes to the adrenal glands. So if we're not functioning as well as we could, we have to think, well, is it this aspect or this aspect or this one or all of them? And if we're not functioning well, then why aren't we? So it really seems to be these days that the stress that we're living with causes us to get an increased stress reaction to begin with. So we can actually get high levels of cortisol. And that can cause us to have a range of different issues, including high insulin, and we put weight around the middle, and we can feel stressed and anxious a lot of the time. But over a while, we can end up having quite low levels of cortisol. And cortisol is our natural anti-inflammatory. So if we're low in cortisol, we can't switch off our inflammation. So we tend to get aches and pains and more inflammatory conditions. We also feel quite tired and flat. If we're low in the DHEA and testosterone, we're not rejuvenating and regenerating our body properly. We're losing muscle tone. We haven't got energy and drive. If we're low in the aldosterone, as I said, we get low blood pressure or dizzy spells or poor flow of blood and oxygen to the brain. So any of those things can cause us to feel pretty flat and tired. The management for this low adrenal function then has to be focused on how do we support the adrenal glands. Now, to be honest, the hardest thing and the biggest thing is to actually do stress management. So, yes, we've got busy lives, but can we take some time out? Can we actually do a bit of meditation in the morning and the evening? Can we just take 5 or 10 minutes at lunchtime to sit quietly and breathe? Just taking 3 deep breaths actually makes us feel different. If you just even, whenever you can, think about, you just feel so different from doing that. So little breaks everywhere. If we can, get up from the desk, move around every hour, every couple of hours. So do what you can to manage stress. Chunk your time down. So you're just focusing on a couple of hours at a time. You don't get so overwhelmed with everything that needs to happen. So looking at stress management is absolutely vital. And if we don't do that, everything else is just kind of like window shopping or putting a Band-Aid on there. But the adrenal glands love B vitamins, particularly B5 and B6. They actually have the highest concentration of vitamin C of any part of our body. So we really need good vitamin C for the adrenals to work properly. They love magnesium. We need some salt to help support the aldosterone if we're running a little bit low on the aldosterone. So there's a range of things that we can take to help support the adrenal glands. There are lovely herbs. So people might have heard of things like withania and ginseng, rhodiola, licorice. So there are good supplements that combine those things as well. So we can look at things like herbal support, we can look at the nutrients and support that, we can look at stress management. If the adrenals are flat despite doing those sorts of things, we can actually even look at using some bioidentical or natural hormones to help balance out the DHEA and the testosterone, even the cortisol if we need to. So there are things that we can do to help manage the adrenal glands, but the real key is about, let's look at our stress, let's look at our lives, let's look at what we're doing, how we're feeling. So let's go on that journey together if we need to create some better health. So if you have any more questions about this, then you can have a look at the website, and I look forward to seeing you next time. I'm Dr. Kylie Dodsworth. I'll see you then. Bye.